The sponsor of my stream and podcast is DistroKid. If you want 10% off on your first subscription with DistroKid, release your music to the world on every major music platform. Make sure to go to my website, andrewvanzark.com, and click on the discount link under the tab of DistroKid.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Welcome to the Andrew Van Zark podcast.
Now you're listening with power. Welcome to the Andrew Van Zark podcast here on the Planet X radio station, your one-stop of Star Wars content, and we listen with power, so we give power to the music. Let's get started. Question of the day is, what makes the Star Wars soundtrack so good? An analyzing of John Williams' music. So let's get started.
Andrew Van Zark, Andrew Van Zark, Andrew Van Zark, Andrew Van Zark.
We're going to read here an article by Rosie Pentreth. So we take a galactic deep dive into the supersonic music that soundtracks the Star Wars films franchise, unearthing the out-of-this-world magic of John Williams' score. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, some of the most beloved film music of all time was composed for Star Wars by the legendary John Williams. The franchise original director George Lucas wanted a classical small C score for the movies, and the depth, variety, tension, and orchestration of Williams' Star Wars music makes it downright masterful, unforgettable, and instantly iconic. Indeed, it's hard to imagine the Star Wars universe coming to life quite as powerful without Williams' soundtrack. His use of Wagner's inspired orchestration, leitmotifs, and simply incredible melodies have made Star Wars recognizable by ear as it is by name or visually. Yes, once you hear that, and you see the Star Wars logo coming in, you instantly just recognize that is Star Wars, even a little bit before the logo comes in on the screen, you know? So the question is, what makes the music so great? You gotta ask yourself that. Let the Force be with us as we delve into the various elements that go into creating one of the most iconic film soundtracks ever made. Indeed. So, if you want to have a good film score, always keep in mind the rhythm and pacing of each measure. Star Wars is often described as being a space opera, and Williams' music has just the right amount of drama required to bring it to life on the big screen. Unquestionably operatic in scale, style, and longevity as it is. Key to the drama is the tension and release. Always, when you write a film score, other than the rhythm and pacing, always keep the tension and release. Do some like really tense sounds and orchestration, and then at the end of that, always resolve it and release so that people can find the conflict and the resolution. And it should be well placed with the rhythm and pacing of what you're seeing on screen. And John Williams makes it phenomenal every time he composes his film scores. Lots of the famous orchestral moments. Think of the main theme of the Imperial March. Really powerful. It really drives you into thinking what the Imperial is and what Darth Vader's power encompasses. Feature impactful triplet rhythms contrasted with bold-held notes, as well as detailed strings and woodwind flourishes. There's also syncopation, long, short patterns, and the melodies, which make the rhythms and the melodies memorable. Williams doesn't waste a single moment of music, and no detail is too small for the soundtrack. When they do the forte stuff, when they do the piano stuff, you can still feel the emotion he's trying to convey. So detailed oriented was William that he wrote the Star Wars main theme used in the opening credits in the same key and style as production company's 20th Century Fox indent that kicks off the film, a theme that William later describes as probably a little overwritten in the New York Times interview. Nah, we think it's just right, you know? I agree that it's perfect, you know? I don't know why William says that it's overwritten, it's over the top, and he would have toned it down a bit. I'm like, no. Star Wars is an epic story that should keep giving us epic music. So you did perfect, William. Don't change it. Another thing that we should keep in mind with film scoring is having brilliant melodies. Remember that. As well as the rhythms being matched pitch perfect to the action on screen, characters, and environments. There's also uniqueness to the melodies in Star Wars. This is a device German opera composer Richard Wagner used in his works, called leitmotifs. Tunes like Princess Leia's theme and Yoda's themes are stunning, and they recur throughout Star Wars as the characters appear and reappear. And the melodies perfectly communicate the actions of the scenes and overall message of Star Wars. The main theme, for example, features the melodies that keep ascending in an uplifting and hopeful way. Yes, like for example when you hear the music on the Return of the Jedi, you know? When you hear the music on The Empire Strikes Back, you do feel that the emotions right there. The melodies are perfectly well done, and they communicate everything that we're seeing and feeling. He always composes with a lot of variety. Ups, downs, hopefulness, distress, power. You can feel it, everything, because this opera saga of the Star Wars is all about the emotions that we're feeling, because sometimes Luke feels lost and doesn't understand what's happening. When a Padawan starts to understand the Force, when the Imperial feels devastated because they can't do what they wanted to do with their power, you know? So there's always a lot of variety on the music, because you can only listen to the score and you can still feel what the film's trying to convey. And that's when you know you did an amazing film score. So while we're on the melody, it's worth drawing attention to the sheer variety there is in the memorable musical themes of the characters. While Darth Vader's leitmotif is a brooding and, let's face it, pretty terrifying indeed. Imperial March, which is rhythmically and statistically reminiscent of the main theme. Princess Leia's theme is a heart-wrenchingly beautiful melody played in the brass winds, characterized by a hope and clarity, and a very gentle accompaniment from the strings. Yes, because we can clearly connect that to when Princess Leia is giving us the message through R2-D2 to Luke and everyone, saying, "You're my only hope." You know, we can feel that. So then we have Yoda's theme. It's a contrasted, again, noble, reflected, and stagedly on its all its gorgeous stuff, you know. Then finally, the tip of the iceberg, the cherry on the sundae for any film score is the orchestration, when each instrument should play, because you can't have all the instruments playing at once. We've got to know when the woodwinds are going to come in, when the strings are going to come out, and when the drums are going to pop in, you know, when the choir needs to go forte or piano, you know. So when director George Lucas originally called for a classical approach to the music for his epic space saga, John Williams took him at his word and produced a soundtrack that makes any symphony orchestra do what symphony orchestras do best: rich sound, bold colors, contrasted textures, and no end of drama. Williams uses the forces of the orchestras to full effect, Since he was asked to compose for Star Wars in 1970s, he called on the same techniques and devices as established film composers like Eric Korngold, Nino Rota, and Bernard Herrmann, who also used full symphonies orchestra. They in turn were influenced by romantic opera and orchestra composers, especially the aforementioned Richard Wagner, who, with his epic works, revolutionized opera. Williams' Star Wars score was also influenced by English composer Gustav Holst, especially his work The Planets. Fittingly compares Mars with the Star Wars main theme, and other romantic and early 20th century composers like Stravinsky. Yes. Williams also uses choral forces, like in Duel of Fates, heard in Phantom Menace. Yes, that is one of the most iconic themes there on the Star Wars soundtracks. Specifically because many of us grew up with it, and also side note, and this is kind of funny, lots of memes were created with the Duel of Fates. So, for example, has a fully choral opening before the clarinets introduced an uneasy melody. It's reminiscent of Karl Zoff's dramatic of 1937's choral cantata, Carmina's Burana. After producing 8 film scores in the Star Wars franchise, Williams' use of full symphony orchestra never lost its potency, and the force has remained strong with the composers who've seen composed for Star Wars, continuing Williams' legacy of truly great orchestra film score writing. And on recent Star Wars movie director J.J. Abrams once said, "Williams writes feelings and knows how to make your heart soar like no one else." Yes, I couldn't agree more with what this says and what J.J. Abrams is saying right here. So, let me know in the comments down below, what's your favorite soundtrack of Star Wars? Whether it is from a film, animated series, or video game. You let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell to get notified. And this was your Planet X radio station moment in the Andrew Van Zark podcast on the Star Wars Hub, where we listen with power and we give power to the music. Let's continue with some more music here on the Andrew Van Zark podcast, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Adios, amigos. This was the Andrew Van Zark podcast. If you have any thoughts or any messages that you want to leave me, go check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or my website, www.andrewvansart.com, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Sayonara. When you listen to Andrew Van Zark, you listen with power. Now, you're listening with power. Andrew Van Zark. Stream on every major music platform. Power to the music.